Hello students, today we will start with the next act, which is Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. And before we start with the understanding of the term negotiable instruments, let me take you to the background of this act. You all are aware about the barter system of exchange. So earlier our market system was a barter system where we used to exchange goods for goods. And as the size of market expanded and grew, there was a exchange system in money form which came into being. And then gradually there was more growth of commerce, and there was multiplicity of commercial transactions. So it was found little difficult, risky, and also inconvenient to use any kind of currency or paper currency, which was handling issues were there, risk issues were there. So it was thought that some kind of a credit based system is also required. If we want to grow further, if we want to expand our business, we need to shift from cash transactions to credit transactions. And to undertake those credit transactions, these negotiable instruments were invented. And that is how this Negotiable Instruments Act came into being. And it was based on English common law. And the Indian Act it came into operation in the year 1881. And the act was passed in 1881, and it came into force on 1st March 1882, and is applicable all over India. Basically, the negotiable instruments, they deal with three kinds of instruments, which are promissory notes, bills of exchange, and checks. Coming to the meaning of the term negotiable instruments, so this phrase has two words. The first is negotiable, the second one is instrument. Now, what is instrument here? So, instrument means any kind of document which is in writing, through which a right is created by one person in favor of some other person. And this right, in the form of an instrument, it is transferable. Negotiable means this right is transferable. You can transfer this right to somebody else, and this transferability can take place by delivery. Just like we hand over our currency to somebody else, similarly negotiable instruments were said to be near money, so they were also transferable by delivery. So we have two kinds of transferability. One is transferability by delivery, and another one we'll do further in the upcoming topics. That is transferability by endorsement and delivery. But delivery aspect has to be there. So from there we can understand that negotiable instrument means any right created in writing for the benefit of some other person, and this right is transferable to the next parties also. Now, how does our Negotiable Instrument Act defines this term? Under section 13 of the act, proper definition or meaning is not there. The act mentions that negotiable instrument means a promissory note, a bill of exchange, or a check, which is payable either on order or to bearer. Now, what is this payability on order or bearer? We are going to understand that further. So, for the time being, the Act is only telling us what kind of instruments are included in the definition of negotiable instruments, and it does not explain what are negotiable instruments. But I just explained to you this is the meaning of the term negotiable instruments. Moving further, after understanding the meaning of the term, now we also need to understand what are various kinds of characteristics or features in any kind of negotiable instrument. All these three kinds of negotiable instruments we have just known, the bill of exchange, the promissory note, and the checks, they all need to possess certain characteristics. So one by one we are going to discuss all of them. First is, negotiable instrument to be negotiable instrument has to have free transferability. That means just like money, it should be freely transferable from one person to the other person. And this transferability can be either by delivery or it can be by endorsement and delivery. So now what is this delivery by endorsement and delivery and only delivery? So that depends upon the type of instrument, whether that instrument is a bearer instrument or that instrument is an order instrument. Now, what is a bearer instrument? A bearer instrument means an instrument which is payable to anybody who's holding that instrument. Anybody who's having possession of that instrument can get the payment due on that instrument. So it is payable to any person. But in case an instrument is order instrument, it means the person who can receive payment on that instrument is the person only who has been named thereunder. So when the payment is to be made only to a named person, it becomes an order instrument. So now comes the transferability aspect. In case it is bearer instrument, then it can be transferred physically just like you transfer any item, even money, currency, note. So you can give it to, you can hand it over to anybody, and whosoever gets it becomes the owner of that money. But in case that instrument is order instrument, in that case it was payable to a specified person. And in case that specified person wants to transfer it further to somebody else, he cannot transfer it by mere delivery. He has to transfer by endorsement or endorsement and delivery both. That means before delivering it physically to the next person, this transferer has to also endorse the name of the next recipient. So endorsing means writing the name of the transferee to whom you want to transfer it, and then putting your signatures beneath that. That I am so and so person. I am transferring this instrument to the other person. So this is the order instrument. So from here we can understand that a negotiable instrument can be transferred multiple times, from one to second to third to number of persons you can keep on transferring, but the transfer has to take place as per the nature of that instrument, whether the instrument is bearer instrument or the instrument is an order instrument. Second feature is that this negotiable instrument has to have this feature of better title transfer. That means an instrument is being transferred to the other person, and whosoever receives that instrument, he should be a bona fide recipient. Bona fide means he was acting in good faith, and for value. For value means he was receiving it for some consideration. He had given something to you, and in return of that, that person is being given this negotiable instrument. Instead of money, you are paying him in the form of that instrument. So this person who is receiving this instrument from you, he should be acting in good faith, and he was receiving it for some value, for some consideration. If it is so that the person was acting bona fide and he was receiving it for value, we call that person to be a holder in due course. And if you are a holder in due course, it means your title will be a good title. You're going to receive a good title. And in case this condition is not fulfilled, you will not get a good title. But more detail and more technicality about this topic we are going to discuss in upcoming chapter. So for the time being, you only have to understand this much. Next is the negotiable instrument gives the transferee the right to sue in his own name. A person has given you that negotiable instrument, and you did not receive money on that on the due date. Now, can you take legal action against that negotiable instrument? Because you are not the possessor of that instrument. You were transferred that instrument by somebody else. So, do you have the right to sue on that? Answer is yes. You have the right to sue in your own name for the payment due on that instrument. Presumptions. In any kind of negotiable instrument, there are certain presumptions. So this topic we are going to do towards the end. So presumptions which are bound to be there are consideration, reasonable time, etc. So I will be discussing it in the next topic. Payment. So a negotiable instrument to be effective must always ensure prompt payment. So it always ensures that we'll promptly get the payment, because in case we are doubtful about receiving the payment on that instrument, we'll not make use of these negotiable instrument. Then we'll depend upon the cash transactions only, and we will accept only money for exchange. So in that case, in case this feature is not there, that negotiable instrument will not be of any use to anybody. Then negotiable instrument has to be in writing. This we have done already. It cannot be oral. Like in case of contract, we have done oral contracts are also valid, written contracts are also valid, but the negotiable instrument has to be in writing and writing only. Another feature is signatures. A negotiable instrument, whosoever writes that instrument, that person has to authenticate it by putting his signatures. In case that is an artificial person, then there has to be some symbol, some stamp, etc. for the same. So this authenticates the instrument. Then any kind of negotiable instrument can either be an unconditional promise or it can be an unconditional order. So in the beginning, I told you about the definition given under section 13, wherein it was mentioned that we can have three kinds of instrument: promissory note, bills of exchange, and check. So instrument can either be a promise to pay. A person is promising to B that he shall be making this payment after 3 months. So in that case, it becomes a promissory note. Or A person may be ordering B that you have to pay me this much money after 3 months. So when you are ordering somebody to pay you the money, it becomes bill of exchange. Both these are different types of negotiable instruments. And third one, check. Check is also a special kind of a bill of exchange. So basically, all these negotiable instruments, three of them, they can either be promise or they can be order. So whether it is a promise or it is an order, it has to be an unconditional promise or an unconditional order. You cannot make a promise conditionally that I shall pay you this money if that happens. Or you cannot make an order, I order you to pay this money provided you do this. So you cannot make it subject to any condition. Another feature of any negotiable instrument is that there has to be a certain sum of money. You cannot say you will pay this much amount or that much amount or we'll fix up the amount later on. When you write that instrument, it has to be written for a fixed specified sum of money. It cannot be any uncertain money. So in case that instrument has all these features, then only we can say that these are the negotiable instruments. Next comes the classification of negotiable instrument. All this classification that we are going to discuss, it is very important to understand all the upcoming topics and upcoming chapters. So the first classification which I have not mentioned here, that is classification according to the statute. Statute means this Negotiable Instruments Act. So I just explained in the last point that we can have three kinds of negotiable instruments: promissory note, which is a promise to pay; bill of exchange, which is an order to pay the money; or thirdly, it can be a check. We all understand what a check is, but more details we'll be discussing later on. The other classifications can be: a negotiable instrument can be either an inland instrument or it can be a foreign instrument. Now, what is an inland instrument? Inland instrument can be of two categories. An instrument which is either drawn in India, that means place of making of that instrument is India, and second, the place of payment is also in India. It is made in India and it is also payable in India. Or secondly, it may be drawn in India but not payable in India. It is payable outside India. But the payment has to be done to an Indian resident. Then it becomes an inland instrument. Second, foreign instrument. Foreign instrument is the one which is not an inland instrument, means which is either not drawn in India or not payable in India. Or secondly, it was drawn in India and payable out of India, not on resident of India, but on somebody else, some foreign person. Second category can be bearer instrument or order instrument. This also I have just explained you previously. Bearer instrument means instrument which are payable to possessor of the instrument. Whosoever is holding that instrument on the due date, he is going to receive money due on that instrument. Or order instrument is the instrument which is payable to a specified person whose name is mentioned in that instrument. Any XYZ person cannot receive money on that. Then another category classification is instruments can be payable on demand or instrument can be payable after time. Payable on demand are which are payable when you put demand for the receipt of the payment, like check. Check is always payable on demand. You have to go to a bank and you have to present a check before the banker, and then he will pay. A banker will not come to your home and give you money on check. You have to demand, and then it will be payable to you. Similarly, a promissory note or a bill of exchange can also be payable on demand if there was no time for payment mentioned in that instrument. It was mentioned payable on demand, payable at sight, or payable at on presentment. It means they are payable on demand without waiting for any due date. On the contrary, time instruments are those instruments which are payable after a fixed time. Like you have mentioned, today is the date of drawing of this instrument, and the payment mentioned therein will be payable 3 months after today, 3 months after date. That means you have to count from today 3 months plus 3 days of grace, and that will be the due date of the payment of the instrument. So when some date or something about the time period of that instrument is mentioned, it becomes time instrument. So for today, we'll finish here up to the classification of these instruments. Some more categories or types are there which we will be discussing in the next lecture. Thank you.